Collei starts yapping in her diary about how good life is right now. She heads out with Tignari, but things feel entirely off. Sethos suddenly acts like he is the one training her, giving major alternate reality vibes. She is completely confused by the sudden swap. Collei is mind blown when Sethos casually mentions Tignari is the General Mahamatra. She brings up Sino, but apparently he is just some guy in the Vahumana Darshan now. It feels like everyone decided to swap lives, and she totally missed the memo. The weirdness escalates when Collei acts like a ruthless capitalist, and Deya is swapping makeup tips as a theater dancer. Collei starts stressing out hard, wondering if she missed a major update, or if the entire city decided to act Delulu today. Collei runs into Tignari doing Mahamatra duties and tries to explain the bizarre identity swaps. Before she can figure it out, she wakes up screaming. The whole flipped reality was just a massive, terrifying nightmare, leaving her totally rattled and gasping for air. Traveler and Paimon pull up to Sumeru and learn the nightmare was actually a warning from the Dendro Archon. A massive evacuation of the entire rainforest to caravan rebat is underway. The situation has peak apocalyptic energy and everyone is panicking about it. At the sanctuary, Nahida explains Irminsul is completely bottlenecked and glitching out. The corrupted data is warping reality and memories. If they fail to fix the giant magic tree soon, Collei's bad dream is basically guaranteed to become their actual permanent reality. Nahida attempts to process the corrupted data by directly connecting herself to the chaotic network. The sheer volume of glitched information flooding her brain is absolute torture. Even for an Archon, taking on the entire burden of the malfunctioning tree is a totally insane move. Nahida suddenly collapses because processing all the corrupted Irminsul data is frying her brain. Sino instantly activates the backup plan to evacuate her from the city. They have to put distance between her and the malfunctioning tree before she is totally cooked. The sages gather to analyze the absolute mess they are dealing with. They confirm Nahida's life force is critically low, and healing the tree without her power seems impossible. The squad is left completely stranded without a solid plan to fix the crashing reality. Things get super dark when scouts report citizens slipping away from the evacuation and going feral. The anomaly is bleeding into the real world, causing people to attack each other. The crew realizes they are running entirely out of time to fix this disaster. Cyrus takes a huge risk investigating the wild and finds bizarre ley line blossoms blooming everywhere. He pulls out his old professor energy to dissect them, hoping to uncover what kind of corrupted data is causing the world to completely lose its absolute mind.
Hi there. If you want to enjoy more gaming lore without grinding for 60 hours, hit that subscribe button. I do the grinding so you don't have to. Your support really helps the channel.
The scholars brainstorm a wild idea to reboot the old Akasha system to bypass the broken tree. Lacking a Gnosis for power, they decide to hunt down a legendary device in the desert. Meanwhile, Traveler suggests asking the Dendro dragon to heal Nahida immediately. Traveler and Paimon track down Apep, who immediately yaps about how much she hates humanity and the gods. She basically tells them she could not care less if Sumeru gets wiped out, showing zero interest in playing savior for the people who stole her world. Traveler hits Apep with a massive guilt trip, reminding her that Nahida literally saved her life before. Apep hates owing a debt to a god, so she reluctantly agrees to share some life force to heal Nahida, while making sure they know she remains a hater. Apep drops some heavy lore about Irminsul originally belonging to the dragons before the heavenly principles stole it to serve humanity. She hints at a massive future revenge plot with the Hydro Dragon before tossing Traveler and Paimon back into the harsh desert environment. Sino tells the returning Traveler that insane sandstorms are blocking the path to the Temple of Silence. Massive swarms of Jinni are breaking out of Gurabad, causing absolute chaos. It becomes super obvious that someone is intentionally orchestrating all these combined disasters at once. The squad pushes deep into the ruins to stop the Jinni invasion. They stumble upon a bizarre Fatui machine pumping out monsters and finally come face to face with a snooty Fatui boss. The guy is totally unbothered, just observing them like a bizarre science experiment. After smashing the Fatui machine to pieces, the mysterious boss keeps yapping endlessly about his philosophy. He questions if the heavenly principles truly rule with justice. He admits he is just buying time for his master plan and acts completely superior to the entire squad. The snooty guy reveals he is connected to the Harbinger Dottore, totally unfazed by the squad threatening him. He claims his journey serves to challenge the rules of the world. Before they can catch him, he completely vanishes behind a dark trap wall, escaping easily. Back at the village, defense lines are crumbling against the endless Jinni swarm. When things look totally hopeless, a mysterious voice guides Collei to sing an ancient goddess of flowers song. The song somehow pacifies the enraged spirits and miraculously stops the massive attack. Jess suddenly appears out of nowhere, rescuing the traveler from the trap. She gives a quick life update about thriving as a mercenary boss and ending traitors. They immediately start searching for Lilupa, the magic bottle, to officially shut down the endless, violent sandstorms. They locate Lilupa, who wakes up from a massive nap, complaining about the absolute chaos. She effortlessly flexes her power to quell the remaining Jinni and clear the skies. With the weather fixed, the squad can finally resume their journey to the Temple of Silence. Arriving at the massive Temple of Silence, the scholars are already debating the ridiculously risky plan to connect to Aru. Kaveh is absolutely stressing over the impossible deadline, while Al-Haytham remains unbothered. They all realize they have no other viable options left on the table. Jet introduces herself to the scholars while they discuss using Aru to power the Akasha. They recount the lore of the three ancient animal kings locked inside the device. The whole thing sounds like an impossible myth, but they are desperate enough to bet everything. The group debates the mysterious Fatui guy's motives, figuring he is just a convenient scapegoat for whatever massive conspiracy Dottore is pulling. They agree that focusing on the immediate crisis is way more important than obsessing over the identity of one snooty henchman right now. Nicole and Nefer arrive at the temple right before a massive invisible barrier seals Sumeru off from the world. Nicole explains it is a self-defense mechanism from the crashing Ley Lines. She managed to drag Nefer along to help them save the doomed nation. Nicole tries to have a deep emotional chat with Nefer about letting go of past grudges and hatred. Nefer completely rejects the therapy session, insisting her anger makes her who she is. She only agrees to help if her travel expenses get totally covered up front. Collei recognizes Nicole as the mysterious voice in her head. Nicole gathers the crew and drops a massive truth bomb, revealing that the horrible Fatui experiments injected Collei with the actual remains of the goddess of flowers. The whole squad is completely shook by this. Tainari and Sino help Collei process the heavy news about carrying a piece of a dead god. Nicole explains that the goddess chose Collei because of her incredible survival willpower. They reassure her that she is still just Collei, no matter what ancient magic hides inside. Faruzan gets super invested in Nicole's random squirrel sculpture, totally missing the fact that she is an ancient angel. They vibe over their shared love for classical aesthetics and heroic storytelling. The wholesome interaction breaks the tension before the squad packs up to raid the tomb. Dea and Nefer have a classic mercenary networking moment, establishing boundaries and mutual respect. Nefer clarifies she has no hidden agenda or enemies in the desert right now. They agree that keeping things professional and transparent is the only way to survive the coming chaos. The team finally confronts the three ancient animal kings trapped inside Aru. The kings are absolutely roasting each other and acting completely unserious for legendary beings. The scholars propose a deal to free them in exchange for access to the ancient supercomputer they desperately need. Nefer reveals that the ultimate answer to the king's riddles was simply time. The realization hits hard, showing that King Deshret built Aru to reverse the inevitable decay of all things. The squad proves they understand the gravity of the situation to the ancient kings. The kings hold a formal vote to open Aru, calling upon their slumbering colleagues. They debate the massive ethical implications of ending King Deshret's perfect afterlife simulation. Ultimately, they decide humanity's survival is totally worth sacrificing the ancient digital paradise and releasing the trapped souls. As the gates of Aru finally open, Jet experiences a heartbreaking reunion with the spirit of her father, Gabriel. He tells her how proud he is before his soul fades away into the Ley Lines. Jet takes a moment to process the intense emotional closure. Kaveh, Al-Haytham, and Tignari step up to tackle the insane engineering project. The ancient kings warn them that humans must operate certain parts of Aru because King Deshret specifically designed it to keep the gods in check. The scholars prepare for the impossible tech integration. The Ibis King drops a massive lore lecture about how the Akasha was actually inspired by Aru. The scholars realize the systems are fully compatible for the merge. Kaveh continues to complain about the impossible deadline while the kings just vibe in the background nearby. Thoth reveals that the foundation for Aru actually came from stolen Heavenly Principles technology. King Deshret built the massive monument to honor the goddess of flowers after she sacrificed herself for forbidden knowledge. The entire project was fueled by ancient divine grief and massive ambition. Al-Haytham and Kaveh dive into a bizarre holographic interface to rewrite Aru's ancient code. They sift through massive amounts of data, deleting useless cultural records and preserving crucial escape blueprints left by original artisans. It feels like floating in a massive high-stakes digital dreamscape. The ancient kings keep bickering like an old married couple while watching the scholars work. They roast each other over past grievances and complain about the lack of respect from the younger generation. It is a hilarious clash of ancient divine egos and stressed academic energy. Kaveh and Al-Haytham take a rare break from being absolute haters to each other. They acknowledge the insane pressure, and Tignari actually manages to mediate their bickering. They reflect on the quiet nature of impending doom and the importance of making small choices to survive. Traveler chats with the Crocodile King about Apep healing Nahida. The king is totally shocked that the Dendro dragon would ever help an Archon after King Deshret tricked her so badly. It proves Nahida's past kindness actually paid off in a massive, totally unexpected way. Nahida finally wakes up, feeling much better thanks to Apep's life force. Apep acts unimpressed and demands Nahida fix the ley lines before they ruin her day. The dragon dips immediately, acting like a hater, but secretly leaving Nahida with strength to keep fighting. A bunch of Aranara suddenly show up in the desert, completely out of their comfort zone, just to support Nahida. Since they are super anxious around all the tall humans, Nahida blesses them with a spell that makes people see them as beautiful, calming dreams. Nahida breaks the bad news that just rebooting the Akasha will not breach the corrupted Irminsul. Dottore has locked down the system using the souls of the dead. They need to come up with an insanely radical new plan to hack into the massive tree. Sino and Nefer team up to catch a suspected Fatui mole at Caravan Rebat. Nefer goes undercover, pretending to be a sketchy antique dealer who lost her cargo. She easily baits the traitor into trying to fence a suspicious Snezhnayan gold coin, completely exposing his cover. Sino swoops in for the arrest the moment the traitor drops his guard. They realize the Fatui abandoned this guy as a convenient distraction. It becomes super clear that Dottore is playing mind games to waste their precious time while he corrupts the giant tree. While staking out the enemy, Paimon gets super vulnerable with Hat Guy, confessing her massive fear of being useless. Hat Guy drops some surprisingly solid advice, telling her she just needs to commit to changing herself instead of giving up when things get incredibly tough. Nahida rallies everyone for a massive strategy meeting. She explains that since Dottore invaded Irminsul through the concept of death, They have to use Aru to turn every single person in Sumeru into a node. They plan to DDoS the world tree to force a shutdown. Tighnari spots a terrifying, corrupted version of Irminsul erupting into the sky. Nahida confirms Dottore is building his own twisted reality inside the tree. It is peak villain behavior, and the squad realizes they are completely out of time before the world is permanently rewritten. Roles are assigned for the final desperate push. The scholars will finish the tech, Sino and Hat Guy will hunt for parts, and the mercs will coordinate the people. Nahida and the Traveler prepare for a secret journey to secure the ultimate weapon against Dottore. Nahida announces she will lead the squad to the Eternal Oasis once the border mission is complete. The scholars are completely mind-blown that the legendary oasis actually exists. Despite her weakened state, Nahida assures everyone she has the strength to see the insane plan through. Sino and Hat Guy go on an absolute rampage through the ruins, destroying primal constructs to harvest materials for new Akasha terminals. They bicker the entire time but show flawless combat synergy. They need enough parts to connect the entire population to the new network. Dori arrives with the finished equipment and immediately complains about her profit margins taking a massive hit. Faruzan starts yapping about the complex conversion of light realm energy, pointing out that sharing dangerous knowledge is the ultimate scholar rebellion against a totally doomed fate. Al-Haytham deciphers a cryptic ancient poem and realizes the final override for Aru requires them to win a literal game of magical chess. The ancient kings throw them onto a giant illusionary chessboard, challenging them to prove their worth to access the entire back-end system. The squad dominates the chess trials, mostly because the Ibis king basically hands them the win on a silver platter. The other kings complain about the obvious favoritism, but they honor the result and agree to extend Aru's shielding to protect everyone from massive surveillance. Traveler and Nahida secretly travel to the Natlan border, completely dodging the barrier. They meet up with Mavuika to beg for the Pyro Gnosis. Mavuika is super chill about it, trusting them more than the Fatui, and willingly handing over the literal divine fiery artifact. In a totally unexpected twist, the Pyro Gnosis physically absorbs into the Traveler's body, resonating with their mastery of phlogiston. The group realizes this gives them the ultimate hidden weapon since the Traveler is entirely unrecorded in Irminsul and completely immune to its normal rules. Kaveh and Al-Haytham finally finish their grueling tech shift. Kaveh is having an existential crisis about the impending apocalypse, but Al-Haytham tells him to focus on what they can actually control. They share a weirdly genuine moment of mutual respect before resting up for battle. Deya and Dori share a quiet moment before the chaos. Dori gifts Deya expensive perfume and ruins her own ruthless capitalist reputation by admitting she secretly funds shelters in the desert. They bond over the stress of pretending to be tougher than they actually are. Nefer reflects on how this crisis has completely erased the divides between the desert and the rainforest. She drops her cynical persona, admitting she actually wants to protect people and guide them to their own miracles. She is finally embracing her true angelic, wholesome nature. Collei has a deep chat with Tighnari about her trauma. She realizes she is no longer just a victim of the Fatui experiments, but a fierce protector of her home. Tighnari is super proud of her glow-up and encourages her to finally take absolute control. The squad regroups at the mausoleum for the final phase. Nahida explains the insane plan to merge Aru and the Akasha, turning every single citizen into a processing node. They are going to hit Irminsul with a massive wave of human consciousness to shut it down. The countdown drops, and every person in Sumeru links up to the network. The sheer volume of human dreams and memories floods Irminsul, completely crashing Dottore's twisted simulation. The corrupted tree stops growing, proving collective human willpower can overpower a rogue, totally unhinged demigod. With Irminsul temporarily stalled and Dottore blinded, the ancient kings activate the magical chessboard to instantly teleport the strike team into Sumeru City. It is time for the final showdown, and everyone is geared up to take back their home from the massive Fatui occupation. Dottore chats with his banker clone, Pantalone, casually revealing he uploaded a backup of himself into the Ley Lines. He admits his entire goal is just to experiment with creating a new reality after death. His ego is massive, with zero regrets about ruining innocent lives. The assault on Sumeru City kicks off with absolute chaos. Sino, Jet, and the Mercs completely crush the Fatui defenders at the gates. The battle is pure adrenaline, with everyone flexing their abilities and pushing forward to secure the city streets before the enemy regroups entirely. The strike team encounters a suspicious Fatui officer trying to trap them in a philosophical debate. Sino immediately realizes it is just an illusionary decoy meant to stall them. They smash the trap and race toward the sanctuary, knowing Dottore is watching their every single move. Traveler, Hat Guy, and Paimon reach the Surastana interface. Paimon bravely volunteers to stay behind and help the others, showing massive character growth. Traveler and Hat Guy initiate the dive, plunging their consciousness directly into the glitched-out, highly corrupted depths of the World Tree itself. Inside Irminsul, things are completely hostile. Dottore traps them in an endless loop of corrupted data, treating them like lab rats in a maze. Thankfully, Nicole hacks into their comms, guiding them to smash the anomaly cores and break through the insane digital tracking barriers. The duo pushes through the corrupted maze while constantly destroying Dottore's tracking anomalies. Nicole acts as their remote operator, helping them bypass the twisted digital architecture. The pursuit is relentless, and they are forced to literally jump off cliffs to escape the terrifying glitching enemies. Dottore finally stops playing games and confronts them face to face. He flexes his control over the domain, mocking Hat Guy for trying to erase his own past. He acts totally invincible, boasting that no matter what they do, they cannot reverse the massive damage he caused. The final boss fight erupts as Dottore unleashes his full power against the squad. The Traveler and Hat Guy combine their strength, dodging massive energy attacks and fighting desperately to break his hold over the tree. It is an intense, high-stakes battle for the fate of reality. The ultimate boss fight concludes with Nahida showing up to deliver the final verdict. She declares that true wisdom is knowing when to let things go. In a massive power move, she decides to sacrifice Irminsul entirely to protect humanity, proving she is the absolute boss. Using the Pyro Gnosis hidden inside the Traveler, Nahida summons the primal flame and literally sets the corrupted world tree on fire. The flames purge Dottore's twisted code and burn away his digital existence. It is a stunning end to the Mad Doctor's absolute ultimate experiment. In his final moments as the flames consume him, Dottore drops the villain act and reflects on his mortality. He accepts his total deletion with weirdly calm fascination, viewing his own death as the ultimate scientific conclusion. His digital presence is permanently erased from the world. Back in the real world, the evacuation is over and people are returning home. The ancient kings chill at the Temple of Silence, contemplating their new retired life in the modern era. The desert and rainforest factions are finally united, completely changing the nation's entire vibe. Kaveh returns to his damaged house and immediately starts stressing over the mess. Al-Haytham surprisingly helps him clean up, returning his dropped art supplies. It is a super rare moment of domestic peace between the two, proving they actually care about each other deep down inside. Dory throws a massive fit over losing so much Mora during the crisis, crying actual tears. Nefer hands her a controversial novel just to annoy her, but also gifts her some rare incense as a peace offering. Their dynamic is the perfect mix of petty rivalry. Collei officially graduates from trainee to full-fledged forest ranger. Everyone congratulates her, and she is absolutely glowing with main character energy. Instead of throwing a party immediately, she decides to take a trip to Mondstadt with the crew to settle some final super important personal business. Nahida receives a diplomatic letter from the Fatui, basically apologizing and throwing Dottore under the bus to save face. Nahida isn't buying their innocent act, but accepts the massive relief funds anyway. She decides to plan a giant potluck party with tomatoes to celebrate their massive victory. Traveler, Paimon, and Nahida take a quick trip to Natlan to thank Mavuika for the Gnosis. They vibe in the sunlight and appreciate the simple beauty of friendship. Mavuika is just glad the world didn't end, and Nahida feels totally at peace with her brand new reality. The crew arrives in Mondstadt, and Collei reunites with Sucrose and Albedo. They all joke around about having impressive titles now that Collei is a real ranger. It is a super wholesome reunion, proving that Collei has finally found her absolute true place and her people. Collei meets up with Lilupar and Nicole for a deeply emotional moment. Collei willingly gives up the goddess of flowers remains inside her, so Lilupar can finally see her mistress again. Lilupar gets her peaceful ending, and Collei is officially freed from her traumatic past forever. In a final letter to Sucrose, Collei reflects on her incredible journey of healing and growth. She says goodbye to her old, traumatized self and watches it float away like a cloud. She is totally ready to embrace her new ordinary life filled with friends and endless possibilities.
Gaming lore is long and confusing, but I break it down every week. Subscribe so you never miss a plot twist or hidden detail. Thanks for watching.